You're watching the Frye Show, brought to you by these fine sponsors. Grand Lake Roofing, Fowler's TV, Family Audiology Associates, American Legion Post 323, Varsity Lanes, Outdoors Equipment Rental, Spring Street Storage, Mr. Bank, Plus One Professionals, Albert Sporting Goods. You are renovating St. Mary's Foundry, Mary Chap Auto Sales, Tap House at the Square, CSC, Jordan Plumbing and Heating, Roots Pub, Dr. Mike Compton, Guaneri's Pizzeria, and DFW Post 9289.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to this week's edition of the Bo Frye Show. I'm your host, Joe Hurlburt, and alongside me is head coach Bo Frye. Each and every week, Coach Frye and I get together. We discuss last week's contest. We talk about games around the Western Buckeye League and this week's opponent, which is the Wapakoneta Redskins. Coach, first of all, a heartbreaking loss at home, your home opener, and you lost to the Defiance Bulldogs 30-15. But we'll talk about that ball game in a minute. But welcome again to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Before we get started, Rider Nation Station and the St. Mary's Roughriders football program would like to send our condolences to the Poff family and the loss of their 11-year-old daughter this week, Jersey Poff. And I'll tell you what, she was a young girl that touched the lives of many, and tonight's ball game against the Wapakoneta Redskins is no different because both communities are coming together, and tonight's ball game will be what they call a pink out, and of course that's Jersey's favorite color was pink. So the stands will be filled with pink shirts in honoring of Jersey, and we'll talk about the pink out game later on because not only is it traveling from St. Mary's and into the Wapak, it's traveling around the Western Buckeye League, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. Coach, before we get started, let's talk about the Western Buckeye League standings and see where everything is starting. It's starting to shake up a little bit, and people are starting to find where they're at. But Defiance, Elida, the two teams undefeated in the Western Buckeye League. I guess the surprise to me is the Elida Bulldogs. They're 3-0. 2-0 in the league, as well as Salina. So they're playing good football. Van Wert and Bath are 2-1 overall. Kenton and Wapak are 1-2. The Roughriders, Shawnee, and OG are 0-3. In league standings, as I mentioned, Defiance, Elida, Salina 2-0 in league play. Van Wert, Bath, Kenton, and Wapak 1-1 in the Western Buckeye League. St. Mary's, Shawnee, and OG find themselves at 0-2, but things are starting to take shape. Wapakoneta surprisingly got their first league win last week against the OG Titans after starting out 0-2 on the season. So we'll see now things are starting to shake out.
Yeah, the league is going. The league's very, very good this year. I kind of said that for years. It's been coming. So definitely teams that have really worked to gain their respect to get to the top of the league, and a testament to them.
But, again, it's just a typical Western Buckeye League conference is that, on any given Friday, anybody can beat anybody. And we're seeing that. In years past, OG, St. Mary's has been at the top. This year, it's just the opposite. They're finding themselves at the bottom of the Western Buckeye League. Elida, Salina have been cellar dwellers in the past. This year, they're putting some things together, so they're moving up. So, programs are starting to get better, and I think the league is starting to become more competitive.
Penthouse to outhouse.
Is that how it goes?
Or outhouse to penthouse, you know.
In last week's games, let's take a look at some of the scores. Bath defeated Shawnee in overtime by a score of 20-17. Salina defeated Van Wert. To me, that's a surprise, 17-14. Elida defeats Kenton 30-22. That kind of surprised me after Kenton put a bunch of points on the scoreboard the week before. Wapakoneta got their first win as they shut out OG 45-0, and of course we'll talk a little bit about the St. Mary's loss to Defiance by a score of 30-15. But anything new around the as far as the JV and the freshman programs this week?
Yeah, our JV team went up to Defiance and won 45-7, so they had a really great Saturday. Our JVs, we've went to a completely two-platoon system in practice, so guys play one position on one side of the ball. We have numbers here in St. Mary's, 86 kids. So they learn one position, one offensive position, one defensive position, and you turned that JV film on last week, and, man, they were playing fast. So we're making progress. It just takes time.
And the theory behind the platoon system is basically this. kids that go both ways have to learn two positions. So they have to learn the offensive playbook. They have to learn the defensive playbook. By two platooning, they stay offense or they stay defense, therefore eliminating one playbook that they have to learn and trying to make it simpler so they can probably just learn that position and not have to worry about another.
As long as we can keep numbers, it's something Skip Bachman did. It's something Doug Frye, my dad, did for many, many years, and we got away from in the last 5 to 7 years. As long as I do my job and keep numbers, we'll see it pay dividends for us in the future.
Well, let's take a look last week at the clips from the Defiance ball game. First of all, let's take a look at offense. How do you think your ball club looked offensively?
I think we're making progress. I think every week you're seeing us make progress. We're still one guy away. We're one step away. We're one play away. And until we can get over that one step away, one play away, the outcomes will continue what we're getting. But we're close, but close doesn't win football games.
When you look at some of the statistics as we take a look at some of the highlights, you had more first downs than Defiance. You had time of possession. You had the ball more times than Defiance did, which hasn't been the case in the first two previous games.
No.
You were way behind on the time of possession, but starting to control the football a little bit more. But and it just seems like it's just like little mistakes.
Little mistakes. Correct. And it comes with better O-line play. When our O-line's clicking, which you're going to see here tonight, when that O-line's clicking, guys, we can hold on to that ball for long periods of time. So.
Well, and I think, when I've been asked throughout the course of the week about the Roughriders and what my thoughts were, and I thought, well, you got a young offensive line. They're juniors. I don't necessarily consider juniors to be young, but I think the key is they're inexperienced. And that's a difference between a young and inexperienced.
So turn on the tape. When things are going in flashes and blurs, this is an offense built on speed. I learned from Denny Long and Coach Frye. I never got to know Skip Bachman well enough, but the offense is built on speed. When you see flashing blue jerseys on the screen, that offense is clicking. Yeah. And right now it's getting closer, but it's not there.
You're seeing some pass plays from Cody Wallace. Cody was, let's see, what was he, 8 of 15, so he had a pretty good game. And they were nice controlled passes. They were a couple to the tight end. We saw a couple to the tight end. Keaton Fishbach, one to Kevin Perry, Noah Dixon. There's a nice little pass, pitch and catch right there.
We're doing things to put our people in the best positions to win football games.
And I think, and not to interrupt, but I think that when your passing game clicks, it opens up your running game.
Gets people off you.
Exactly.
And there's different ways of getting people off you. Last year we had our own ways of getting people off us, and this year Cody's got to help us get people off us.
Yeah. This is a nice run by Colton Mabry. This kid just runs hard.
Hey, what a great kid, 4.0 student.
And the one thing about it is that he's just a junior. Dominic Osborne, who had a great night as well.
Yeah.
They're junior. Your offensive line primarily are juniors. So, in time, and here we see Cody Wallace making a good decision, pulling it down and taking it around the end.
For sure. I mean, Cody is making good decisions right now. Like I said, it's his job to get people off us, and we're doing things to help him out, and you'll continuously see that more and more from Cody.
This is a nice pass to Kevin Perry.
We can't forget with Cody, too, that he's been injured the last 2 years. So anytime you get injured, you lose practice time. And so the reps are slow for Cody right now. I mean, he needs reps. He needs more. He needs more time. He needs more energy, and that's where we're at with it. And you'll continuously see him get better.
Good offensive line blocking. Got Colton Mabry down inside the 5-yard line. That set up the Roughriders touchdown.
Yeah. Great hair, too, Colton Mabry has.
There's a touchdown. You've played the game enough to know. I've played, but I've never experienced being hurt.
Yeah.
Have you ever played coming off a serious injury or not?
Yeah, well, I never had a serious injury. But my senior year, I played with a pretty banged-up ankle the entire season. It weighs on you. It hurts. But I've never had a broken bone or a torn ACL or anything like that, so I can't tell you that. I mean, I don't know how to get that confidence back. And you saw it last year with, or was it 2 years ago with Aiden Hinkle? He just wasn't the same back for a little while till midseason because he was still running a little bit scared from that injury.
You know, and that's what I was getting to. I mean, is somebody that has a knee injury, like a torn ACL, that goes through a surgery, you know, how much is in your mind as a player? How much, you know, is that always in your mind, and it takes your focus away from actually giving 100%, or do you lean on that a little bit?
I don't know. Everyone's a little different. Everyone's built a little different, so I can't answer that question. But I will tell you, Cody, they weren't just average injury. One was a broken collarbone. The other one was a broken ankle. They weren't just sprained ankles or bruised knees or something like that. Those are broken bones.
Yeah. So when you sit in the stands and you see him take a hit, everybody takes a big gasp, wondering or not whether he's going to get.
But he's starting to get over that, and you're seeing it. He's running the football. He's tucking and going.
Yes,
he's playing with no fear. Which, if we can learn anything, you can't play the game with fear.
Exactly. Defensively, the Roughriders gave up 327 yards on total offense. Brett Ziffel was 9 of 15 through the air, 2 touchdown passes. But the defense, you know, you'll see here, you know, they swarm to the football.
There's times, guys, where it's good. When we're when we're good, we're good, and when we're bad right now. So, like I said, we're a one play away, we're one guy away, we're one tip ball away from being a much better football team, and it's going to come as long as our guys continue to show up and fight. We're going to get them. We're going to get them to get some victories.
And it's almost like one quarter you play great, the second quarter not so, and it's. I guess the Riders are looking for 4 good quarters of football.
100%, all 11 playing every play, and 4 good quarters of football, and we're hoping you see that tonight.
Well, I thought the Roughriders did a good job on Brogan Castillo. Of course, he left the ball game with an injury. But, you know, he had 11 rushes for 52 yards. His longest was just 13 yards. So they kind of held him in check and never let him loose. And that was a positive, I believe. This one right here, this one got me as far as the defense. We move, we're running up, we're moving over. It's like a Chinese fire drill.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, we prepare for everything, and that was 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1, and I would love him, man. But he's a freshman. I mean, juniors and seniors playing a lot of football make that play in the backfield, and then it's 4th down, and we get the ball back. We're still trying to speed up to the speed of the game right now.
Yeah, there's just good pursuit here for a loss.
Yeah. Guys playing hard.
But we need that kind of play every
play.
Every play.
And we're getting there. And they're playing hard, man. And you can't take that out of them. And as long as they continue to show up, I'm going to do everything in my power to find a way to get them to win football games, us to win football games.
Noah Dixon, this is a good stop by Noah. Just got it.
Yeah, man. The kid plays hard.
Chased it down.
He plays hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things that Roughriders had defense had problems with last week against Salina was getting runners getting to the outside.
Yeah.
That was a good stop right there.
Morn's kid playing hard
good
too.
Good support.
Yeah.
And of course, you get consistent downline play from Logan Compton, and it makes the stop here.
He's been playing for 3 years. He's a good football player.
Yeah,
we can't block him in practice at times. He's good. We just need more to get on his energy and get on his level.
Of course, let's take a look at some of the special teams play. Let me ask you this. We saw this all night from Defiance kickoff.
Yeah.
They're either A, can't kick it that far, or they're kicking it away from your return people.
They don't have a kicker.
Is that, is that it?
That's why they went for 2 every time too.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they listened to someone from their coach about their kicker got hurt in preseason. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, they're playing without a kicker, and so they just basically give it to you at the 30 and say, "Hey, go, good luck."
Yeah,
so yeah.
But, you know, we'll see a couple of these here, and it's just like, you know, the bobbles.
Yeah.
You know?
It's hard to field it, man. It's bouncing around, man. On turf, it's hard, you know, and you never know which way the ball is going to bounce,
right.
you know.
Right.
And honestly, lately, it hadn't been bouncing our way.
Right.
You know?
And Jacob Kessler, your punter, continues to just strictly amazed me. Good handling of the punt.
Yeah.
That one looked like he shanked it.
Yeah.
It'll hit here, and then it'll roll another.
That was a good bounce. That was a good bounce. Yeah.
It was a good bounce.
Luckily, he's getting it away. That's
More
the big
times
thing.
than not, you're getting good rolls.
Yeah. There was one later in the game before half where it was close.
Yeah.
Ball about didn't get it away.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Here again is another short kickoff handled by one of your up man. I think this was Luke Rammel, I believe.
Yeah, Rammel, he's a young guy. He's in here, picks it up.
Yep.
I mean, we'll take the ball at the 30. I mean, there's only so much you can do, you know. You got to field it.
So your average start was a little better than weeks past. Your average start was about the 28 or 30 yard line.
Yeah.
So
We have a few stops on defense, which was good.
Yeah.
And with their lack of kicking game, that helps, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We put Steinberg in for Rammel there because we
Yeah.
thought he may be able to pop it and hit it, but yeah.
There's another good job by Kessler on the punt.
This might be the one that, maybe not. We'll see.
They almost get it. They almost get one.
It was a high snap. It was right before half. We had to
There
punt
it
it, and luckily he just got it away.
There
That
it
was
is.
the big thing. He did a good job getting it away. It's before half, and then the bounce was good as well.
Exactly.
So,
And when you looked at him from a punter standpoint, you know, he didn't have an opportunity to extend his leg. It was
Yeah.
kind of like almost like a pooch punt, so to speak.
Yeah.
But And this one here was just one of those unfortunate things, and that, you know, you just got to know where the football is.
Yeah.
It hits your return man. that was
louder
going
poison.
down on the foot.
Yep. Louder poison calls from the back half. We were coming at it, trying to get a block punt. And I mean, that's just
It's just,
sometimes like all the onside kick from the Salina week. You know,
Right.
some things aren't bouncing our way, but we got to make it so that they start bouncing our way.
Exactly. So that's a look at some of the highlights from last week's game against the Defiance Bulldogs. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk about this week's opponent, our rival to the east, the Wapakoneta Redskins, when we come back right after this.
You're watching the Bo Frye Show, brought to you by these fine sponsors. Grand Lake Roofing, Fowler's TV, Family Audiology Associates, American Legion Post 323, Varsity Lanes, Upload Equipment Rental, Spring Street Storage, Mr. Bank, Plus One Professionals, Albert Sporting Goods. You are renovating St. Mary's Foundry, Larry Staff Auto Sales, Half House at the Square, CSC, Cody Plumbing and Heating, Roots Pub, Dr. Mike Compton, Guaneri's Pizzeria, and DFW Post 9289.
Welcome back to the Bo Frye Show. I'm Joe Hurlburt alongside head coach Bo Frye. We mentioned at the top of the program the pink out that'll be taking place tonight at Wapakoneta at Harmon Field in honoring of Jersey Poff, the 11-year-old daughter of Jody and Allison Poff, who passed away earlier this week. But this is what small-town America is all about. Mm. This community, St. Mary's community, has rallied around this. The Wapakoneta community has rallied around because Jersey had played soccer. Mm-hmm. But not only is this going to be a pink out tonight, but it's to my understanding that all the teams in the Western Buckeye League will be wearing pink of some sort. Mm-hmm. So it's just a tribute to what the Western Buckeye League is.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to do our best to honor her tonight. She ran around the same circle as my daughters, so I knew her. She danced in our locker room after games, you know what I mean? She was running around the same circle, rode the bus with my daughters, and you know, if you can learn something from somebody, it's that girl had moxie. Yeah. She had some no fear. She would stand out front, and she would do things. I didn't know her great, but I knew that from her, from an outside perspective, live your life to the fullest, because you never know when it'll end.
Yep. Absolutely. And so she obviously has touched the lives of many people as these two communities come together. And to me, it's just an indication that there's more to it than football.
100%. And there always is. But football is a big part of our community.
Right.
So on our end, we have to make sure that we are honoring our community the best way we can. Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look at some of the games around the Western Buckeye League before we talk about the game between the Wapakoneta Redskins. Bath is on the road. They're at Kenton. Salina will be on the road. They're taking on Shawnee. Van Wert is at Defiance. That should be a good ball game in the Western Buckeye League. OG at Elida. And, of course, St. Mary's on the road again. And we'll be on the road again next week. And then finally we'll get some home games in the final half of the season. But the Redskins, they come in 1-2 overall. They're 1-1 in the Western Buckeye League. Their head coach, Travis Moyer, has been there a while. They defeated the OG Titans last week. But entering last week's ball game, they've got a pretty good quarterback in Caleb Moyer. Entering into last week's ball game after 2 weeks of the regular season, he's 40 of 55, throwing about 72%, 370 yards, 2 TDs, 3 interceptions. But he's a young kid. He's just a sophomore, I believe.
Yeah, he's the coach's son. Played last year against us. Super good football player. Coach Moyer's done a great job with the Wapak program. They're big, they're talented, they're physical on defense. But they're who they are. We're who we are. We have to just play like we play football here in St. Mary's, and if we do that, great things will happen.
It should be a great contest between these two teams. Obviously, it's a rival as well, and I've told you the story many, many times that my wife is from Wapak, and she would tell me the story that every year we get so pumped up because we're going to play our rival St. Mary's. And I thought, are you kidding me? Our rival is basically Salina.
Yeah.
Wapak is just another football game for us. But over the years, that has somewhat changed. I mean, when your dad went over to Wapak, that kind of changed that whole scenario.
Yeah, it's definitely become a much bigger rivalry, and I think the last 5-6 meetings have went to overtime or been within 3 points. So it's always a tight contest. There's similar type kids in each community. I've coached over there with my dad, and I've coached here. We have similar kids in some areas. Football's become a bigger deal over there than it was before, and Coach Moyer's done a great job of keeping it a big deal over there.
I think it's a tribute, to your dad when he went over there. I mean, he kind of changed that program around, and when you win, you get more kids out. Winning breeds winning. Yeah,
winning always helps.
Exactly.
And it's good for their community, but football is our backbone.
Exactly. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us here at the Bo Frye Show. I'm Joe Hurlburt. Again, we'll be here to bring you the game between the Wapakoneta Redskins and the St. Mary's Roughriders. And I'll tell you what, if you get an opportunity to come over to the ball game, they're going to be selling pink T-shirts prior to the ball game outside the ticket area. And so, of course, tonight is that pink out game in honoring of Jersey Poff, who passed away this week. We'll be there to bring it all to you, starting around 6:50 or so with the kickoff at 7. So, Coach, we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll be talking about a win next week when we come back.
Yeah, that's a goal.
All righty. Until next time, so long, everyone.
Thank you for watching the Bo Frye Show, brought to you by fine sponsors. Grand Lake Roofing, Fowler TV, Family Audiology Associates, American Legion Post 323, Varsity Lane, Douglas Equipment Rental, Spring Street Storage, Mr. Banks, Plus One Professionals, Albert Sporting Goods. You are renovating St. Mary's Foundry, Mary Staff Auto Sales, Tap House at the Square, CSC, Cody Plumbing and Heating, Roots Pub, Dr. Mike Compton, Guarneri's Pizzeria, and DFW Post 9289.